In the highly anticipated season 13 premiere of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, the simmering tension between Rasheeda Frost and Jasmine finally erupted in a dramatic confrontation that kept viewers on the edge of their seats. For years, the relationship between Rasheeda and her husband, Kirk Frost, has been at the center of much of the drama on the show, and the involvement of Jasmine, who had repeatedly tried to come between them, added fuel to an already blazing fire. This episode marked the point where Rasheeda decided she had had enough, taking matters into her own hands and confronting Jasmine in a way that no one saw coming. Jasmine's involvement in Rasheeda and Kirk's marriage has been an ongoing source of tension throughout the series. Jasmine's attempts to rekindle her relationship with Kirk were well known, and despite the damage caused to Rasheeda and Kirk's marriage in the past, she kept pushing boundaries. At the start of season 13, Jasmine was back at it again, this time making another move to sleep with Kirk, even though her previous attempts had already caused significant strife. Jasmine's refusal to let go of Kirk was more than just an annoying situation. It was an attack on Rasheeda's family and her life. Her actions threatened everything Rasheeda had worked so hard to build. And this time, Rasheeda wasn't going to sit back and let it continue. Rasheeda had always tried to take the high road, to stay focused on her businesses, her children, and her marriage. She had weathered many storms, and for the most part, she had handled everything with grace. However, as much as she wanted to avoid conflict, the constant disrespect from Jasmine became too much for her to ignore. It was clear that Jasmine wasn't going to stop, and Rasheeda's patience was running thin. In the face of this ongoing drama, Rasheeda had finally come to the conclusion that she needed to address the issue head on. She wasn't going to continue to be passive while Jasmine tried to tear apart everything she had worked for. Rasheeda's decision to confront Jasmine wasn't something she took lightly. She had always been a woman of strength and resilience, but even she had her breaking point. The episode made it clear that Rasheeda wasn't going to back down anymore. No longer willing to tolerate the constant disrespect, she decided to meet Jasmine head on. The time for silence was over. Rasheeda was going to take control of her narrative and put an end to the chaos that Jasmine had been stirring for years. The confrontation between Rasheeda and Jasmine was nothing short of explosive. The moment the two women came face to face, the tension was palpable. This wasn't just a disagreement or a petty argument. It was an emotional clash that had been building for years. Rasheeda, who had tried to maintain her composure for so long, was now unleashing all her frustration.
You don't know because you don't.
I do know. I'm not.
So the agreement was that you get canon the third weekend of every month. Do you do that?
No, and we didn't really agree to that because the last time.
It's signed on paper.
This is what I just want to say. It's not gonna ever be exactly what you want it to be. But
I
one
get
thing
that
you
now.
ain't gonna never, ever, ever have to question or worry about is that boy getting the love and the same treatment as all the other kids when he's around. Always been concerned, and I've always loved him since the first day I
heard from you.
You don't have to hear from me because Cannon knows what's up. That's
so
all
now
that
you
matters.
understand why it's a little weird now.
But
It seems
but
like
you know it's
as
not weird.
genuine because
No, it's genuine.
now all of a sudden.
I always been there since I decided to forgive this. If I forgave him, I gotta take everything that comes with it, and that's canon. Y'all figure some out so we can get this boy on track like he need to be on track.
She was tired of feeling disrespected by Jasmine, tired of her attempts to come between her and Kirk, and tired of the way Jasmine had constantly undermined her marriage. Rasheeda didn't hold back, calling out Jasmine for her repeated attempts to wreck her family and making it clear that she wouldn't tolerate it any longer. Jasmine, ever defiant, attempted to defend her actions, but Rasheeda wasn't having it. There was no room for excuses in that moment. Rasheeda's words were sharp, cutting through the air with a power that left no room for doubt. She was done letting Jasmine slide by with her manipulative behavior. This wasn't just about Kirk anymore. It was about Rasheeda taking back control of her life and showing Jasmine that she couldn't continue to disrupt her peace. The confrontation quickly escalated, with emotions running high and both women exchanging heated words. But as the argument progressed, it became clear that this wasn't just about the drama between the two of them. It was about Rasheeda asserting her power. For years, she had been the one trying to keep the peace, to rise above the chaos. But this time, Rasheeda wasn't going to allow anyone, not even Jasmine, to dictate the course of her life. She was going to stand her ground no matter what. As the heated exchange continued, Rasheeda became more resolute. She wasn't just defending her marriage, she was defending herself. She had spent years working on her businesses, her family, and her personal growth, and Jasmine wasn't going to take that away from her. The confrontation wasn't just about protecting Kirk or their marriage. It was about Rasheeda asserting asserting her identity as a woman who wouldn't let anyone walk over her. For the first time in a long time, Rasheeda wasn't afraid to stand up for herself. Rasheeda's strength and determination were undeniable in that moment. She wasn't just standing up to Jasmine, she was standing up for everything she had built, for everything she had fought for. And as the confrontation reached its peak, it became clear that Rasheeda had won. She had finally taken control of her narrative and shown Jasmine that no matter how hard she tried, she wouldn't be able to tear apart Rasheeda's family. While this may not have been the end of the drama between Rasheeda and Jasmine, it was certainly a pivotal moment. Rasheeda had proven that she wasn't going to let anyone, not even Jasmine, come between her and her peace. She had taken charge of the situation, reclaiming her power and her dignity. And in that moment, Rasheeda showed the world just how strong, resilient, and unapologetically powerful she truly was. As the episode came to a close, viewers were left wondering what would happen next for Rasheeda, Kirk, and Jasmine. But one thing was certain, Rasheeda had proven that she wasn't going to let anyone, no matter how relentless or manipulative, take away what mattered most to her. She had taken control, and the message was clear. If you mess with Rasheeda Frost, you better be prepared for a fight.
You don't know because you don't
I do
speak to
know,
it.
I'm not.
So the agreement was that you get canon the third weekend of every month. Do you do that?
No, and we didn't really agree to that because the last time.
It's signed on
This
paper.
is what I just want to say. It's not gonna ever be exactly what you want it to be. But
I
one
get
thing
that
you ain't
now.
gonna never, ever have to question or worry about is that boy getting the love and the same treatment as all the other kids when he's around. Always been concerned, and I've always loved him
I've
since
never
the first
seen
day I
or heard
heard.
from you.
You don't have to hear from me because Cannon knows what's up. That's
So
all
now
that
you
matters.
understand why it's a little weird now. It seems
but
like
you
it's
know it's
as
not weird.
genuine
No,
because
it's genuine.
now all of a sudden.
I always been there since I decided to forgive this. If I forgave him, I gotta take everything that comes with it, and that's canon. Y'all figure some out so we can get this boy on track like he need to be on track.
Matters worse, Kirk hasn't taken responsibility for his actions. Instead of simply admitting that he messed up again, he's been trying to paint himself as the victim. He's telling anyone who will listen that he's been unhappy in his marriage for a long time and revealed that his affair with Jasmine was a way to escape the issues he was facing at home with Rasheeda. Just days later, he separated from Rasheeda, and sources say he even reached out to his legal team for advice on how to proceed with a divorce. In my opinion, Rasheeda has enabled Kirk's mistreatment by choosing to stay instead of walking away. She had the option to leave, but decided against it. Instead, she publicly declared her commitment to keeping her family intact, making it clear to Kirk that she wasn't going anywhere. In an interview with Essence, Rasheeda said, "A lot of times people who speak on that could never wear my shoes. A lot of women haven't even been in a relationship for 5 minutes, let alone 20 years. So you can't speak about the decisions that I make at the end of the day. It's my life, and I never let anybody's opinion sway me in any direction. All I did was pray and follow my heart, and if nobody likes it, don't follow me, and don't leave any comments on my Instagram. Something you deal with might be something I wouldn't deal with, but it's not for me to tell you what to do. One reason our marriage has been able to continue is because he's made a 360. I went through a really deep, dark period with it, and it wasn't an easy thing for me." It took being hospitalized for Kirk to realize that he needed Rasheeda back in his life. However, his decision to have Rasheeda by his side has left Jasmine furious. She's been telling anyone who will listen about what Kirk did to her. Inside sources revealed that Kirk had already discussed the possibility of marrying Jasmine once his divorce from Rasheeda was finalized. So his request to have Rasheeda back has broken Jasmine's heart. But as they say, you lose them the way you gain them. Let's not forget, this is Kirk we're talking about. He knows exactly how to manipulate both Rasheeda and Jasmine. While we wish Kirk a speedy recovery, one thing is clear. Things are about to get even messier between Jasmine and Rasheeda. We've got our fingers crossed. Kirk's request for Rasheeda to be by his side after the doctor informed him that he may not make it has had fans talking. They've been leaving comments saying, "Don't understand why Jasmine keeps throwing rocks and hiding her hands. Having a baby by a married man comes with consequences. Jasmine knew that man was married. Expecting a man to take accountability for something he was allowed to do is one of the consequences Rasheeda can do much better. If Kirk passes on, she has to live without him. Girl, kick the dead weight to the curb. Who needs that kind of disrespectful man? Take charge of your happiness. It's not with Kirk. Love yourself and move on from him. Too beautiful to be dragged down. Kirk is with Rasheeda when he's sober and with Jasmine when he's drunk. So do you think Rasheeda should forgive Kirk for all he did to her and stay by his side at the hospital? Or do you think she has no business being there since he chose to be with Jasmine over her? Let me know what you think in the comments.